Thank you.
Hey, George, you listening? That was odd. If you guys can hear me, this is the stage. I know Alan's new to this. This is this. Oh no. Having it's repeating everything I say back to me, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Hang on, guys, because I need to get George. Maybe when he turns on Facebook, that live. Because he has it something on the screen on Facebook, so I'm not quite sure. Now that's exactly what we have. Okay. George, if you can hear me, why am I hearing everything I say back to me? Okay. Can you guys hear me? I think that did solve the problem. I just turned off Facebook, so I can't see the questions and stuff. If you want to talk, this is the stage. The stage. And let me see. Somebody sent me a message. Yes. Tino spin or whatever. Yes. I got it. It seemed to work. This is the stage way. there's something on your button there. You can raise your hand if you want to ask a question, and then I'll move you up. And so I'm gonna send you the message that you'll see, and if you accept to speak, then it will move you up into the main, the main thing here. So everybody's gonna get one, and then we can check our volumes and stuff like that. Can you guys all hear me? Coffee all day. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can barely. I've been trying to turn my speaker up, but for some reason I just don't have any volume.
Oh, I get that all the time in my headset, but I'll move my volume on my microphone seems pretty high, so I shouldn't be too low.
No, I can hear you. It's just weird. I have my speaker all the way up, but I might have to go grab my Bluetooth headphones, and that might help.
Yeah.
I've never done this before.
No, it's fine. It's fine. That's what this is. I know. Believe you me, about a month ago, this all started with me getting a headset, and then I spent 3 days just trying to figure out how to get it to work on my computer. It just was, and I'm not even high tech, so that's how this. So I understand perfectly. But some of the new people, so Ash and Tiz. Usually, if you want to ask a question, if you're in the audience on this, you can just hit the button. It'll raise a hand, and then I know to move you up. And then if you don't want to say anything, you don't have to, or you don't have to move yourself, up. But the idea is I can move everybody into the chat area. Sometimes we get like 15 people, so it gets a little confusing. And so we'll, we sometimes move them back. And if like Ash, if you just want to listen, then you just don't put a hand up, and then you just listen all night. And then when you do have a question, do ask a question, because I know you've been asking questions. So, ask something, and we'll talk about it. It's a little bit early. I always put 5 o'clock, and then I noticed George had turned it on. The idea tonight is just what we do, and see, there are 3 people that are new. We just sit around a lot of times and just start talking about something, and it leads to other things. And sometimes these things go till 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, but you don't have to stay here for that long. But, people just have a lot of little things that they want, or what they're working on, or maybe just personal life things that we laugh about. And it has worked out real good that we've had a lot of fun just chatting. And then sometimes there's questions that maybe get asked, and if you're not up to speed, or you haven't done it for 6 years, 7 years or more, you might not have heard the story. And so sometimes old stories come back up, and then it just goes on and on like that. So, but tonight was kind of a rehash of every year. George on the Sunday night would do a questions night for people who wanted to ask questions that maybe they were afraid to ask. And so that's kind of the takeoff, that there is a podcast that has some of the basic questions. And then I was going to point out that 12 Treasures has a frequently asked questions. And those are ones that every new person or newer person, if they haven't already kind of read, should read. And then if they have a question, they can do a little more investigation. And then, I got ideas for if somebody asks, like, where do you find some of this research stuff? There's different books or different websites, and we can talk about some of those if they're not familiar with them. There's good and bad to all of these kind of sites and stuff. So you do have to kind of work your way through and decide for yourself on some of them. And then some of it, you see why it's become what either commonly accepted or generally accepted, or, that kind of thing. Let me see. Alan was on a minute ago. He's probably going to come back, but let me just check that he didn't understand. He was kind of new to the Discord. And we usually start with a few, and then we get more and more. So if you guys have some questions, you can ask me while I'm starting, or, we'll come back to it if I think it's an interesting question. Or you can just tell me what you're working on, when you got involved with The Secret. Feel free. Or
there we go. No, I just finally got my headphones on, and I can hear you perfectly. I heard everything you said, but I
That's
I
fine.
couldn't figure out how to get it on speakerphone, so I was either had to have my head up to it or grab the. I got those, Beats things, so I just use those.
Yeah. I got to upgrade mine from the $10 pair to something someday.
Yeah. I think
have
it's
some-
I'm just doing this on my phone. I don't have a laptop or anything here.
Yep.
So
Yep. No, we have a few people that are always on their phone or use their phone and all that. So let me just send.
I'm just in my vacation condo thing down here, and there's another house here I keep that's got internet, but I don't have internet at this condo.
Where's down
It's
here?
I'm in Lake Havasu City on the lake here, Arizona. Yeah.
Okay, so you're like 2 o'clock there, 3 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock. Just turned 3.
3 o'clock. Okay, got the West Coast people early.
Yeah, so we don't. Arizona doesn't do whatever. We don't change time. Everybody else changes time around us.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We don't
forgotten about
change
that
our
too.
clocks here.
So what time is
I'm
it?
from
there?
Oregon, so we change our clocks. It's 3 o'clock. Yeah. So,
Okay, so
sometimes we're a couple hours behind, and sometimes we're 3 hours behind. Just kind of depends. It's all confusing.
Yeah, we just don't. That's why we don't bother with Arizona. We just eliminated them. Just Central, Eastern, and everybody else. You just figure it out. Google it. It. But anyways,
I just say it's because we're in the middle of everything.
Yeah. You're in the middle of stuff. I
say the world revolves around Arizona because we don't change our time.
Yeah, but right. And then they're talking about changing back to not having daylight savings time, so that would make you guys back. It would all come back to what Arizona always is, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's I can understand.
Kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, where are you at?
Houston, outside of Houston, Texas.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
I've never been down that far. I've been down to Dallas a couple times, but never Houston.
All right. Yep.
That's about as far into Texas as I've been. To the Panhandle a couple times, up in Dallas, Fort Worth, Mesquite.
Yeah,
that area.
Yeah. I see. You've been to Austin. Did you get to Austin?
No, I've been avoiding Austin.
Well, it's kind of like your Oregon, but it's kind of the prettiest area, but it's built up now, and I guess it's gone real yuppie, super,
Yeah, it's a college town, just like any other college town. It's kind of
college, but now it's become, the arts and music and tech and
arts district. It's the arts district of Texas.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's just growing leaps and bounds, and so it's not the small little kind of Texas town-ish feeling anymore. It's a real place. But anyway,
well, Portland has Keep Portland Weird.
Yeah,
and they stole that from Austin. They stole that from Austin. Austin was the original. That was their original saying. Keep Austin weird.
It didn't take Portland to. Yeah, they don't have to go very far to be weird.
Portland won the race for sure.
Yeah, I'm from California, Sacramento, and I went to school up in Humboldt State, in Humboldt County.
Yeah.
Just south border, and so Oregon and Portland and there's a lot
over there. That's Humboldt County is like, if for anybody who's listening doesn't know, that's the weed capital of the West Coast, pretty much.
It used to be. Yeah, I think it used to be, but now I guess everywhere is the weed capital of everything.
Sure. I mean, when it was illegal.
Yeah. No.
Underground illegal weed capital of the West Coast.
When I was up in there at school, there's a town, and Garberville, I think it is, just south and southern part of Humboldt County, and there's a Netflix special somewhere. I'd have to dig it and find the name of it again, but they talk about how people were being killed and the drug war, the marijuana wars, and then the cartels started sneaking up, getting up in there and getting the thing. And there was people were dying and disappearing. I mean, we were more on the northern side of the county, but we went through there, around there, hiking, and we were warned about, if you stumble onto something, you better stumble right back out fast. And I didn't realize how much was going on, even while I was up there going to school. And then I saw that documentary, and I'm like, holy moly. So, yeah, it was a kind of a crazy area. But, well, let's see. So, new people, because I guess it's Tisnin no spin or whatever. Be sure to jump on and talk, because I want to see what you think. And then I guess Ash Simmons not going to talk. And then Rob is on Rest, Work, Play. We haven't really started. Oh, hey, Alan is here. We do want to talk to Alan. So, Alan, there's a button that should say that you want to speak, and that will put your hand up, and then I know to move you up. I can move everybody up if they want, but, you don't have to say anything. But, Alan, how are you? I do want to say hi, and I want to hear your best. Don't have a mic for this computer. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair enough. But you could type a question if you want. There's a chat area over a chat bubble right next to the chat room stage. You can type a question in there or a comment, and I'll try to keep one eye on it. Mike, looking for the chat. Thanks. Yeah, it's right there, the bubble. It might be under the timer if there's a timer next to the chat room stage. My cohorts, Sarah, who's usually here, is just got home from where she thing, and she'll probably be on soon. And Jay is usually here. He will be on a little bit later. He said he might be late, so he's usually on the thing. So I'm hoping to get the new people, the newer people. And so far, Ash, you're the only one, and Tin's maybe this. But Alan, we do want to hear maybe you're. Oh, and you also there. Coffee all day. Are you new at this? Are you new at all this?
No, I'm not new. I've been doing it since probably since the old days, the Quest for Treasure days.
Oh, good. No, that's good.
Since before there was a Facebook group, that's for sure.
Oh, good. So you're kind of an old timer. Good.
Yeah, I'm just new to this platform. I've had an account with Discord since 2022. Right. It looks like, but I never use it. I've never used it for anything really. Right.
Well, a lot of people haven't, and we've started to get now. Alan, I invited you to speak, and so it should say something like accept to speak, and when you do that, it'll move you up into where we're speaking, and then you'll be able to chat away. Oop, yeah, there he is. The Discord, was always here, and I guess it had kind of it had its day where it's had a bad reputation. Something like Reddit. Reddit goes through periods of time where there's been a lot of drama, and I think Discord was a lot of drama, and not so long ago there was a lot of drama still too. But we got a new moderator or an additional moderator or whatever we have as moderator, and he's nice enough. He just puts the hammer down when need be. He doesn't come in very often and say anything. And George, and we just sort of changed the tone of what was going on here, and then we stumbled onto the chat thing. Three of us, I don't know, we just started going on and going, what are you doing? And we were chatting about whatever, and then somebody else would jump on. And the first night we did it, George jumped on and goes, you want to record it and put it? And that was the first one we did where we were all just chatting away and had no direction, no purpose. We can get topics and go back to certain ones if we want to, do that. And so we're all free to do that. I think my joke of the thing is, my expectation is that we're not going to solve anything, and we're not trying to solve anything. Nobody's going to be convinced by the end of the night, and probably by the end of the night, nobody will remember half of what we talked about, but it'll be fun. Usually it's fun. We've had fun. Let me ask. So Alan, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I don't know. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, sorry. I do not know how Discord works. So I'm a newbie as noob can get.
Well, that's what
I'm driving.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just got off work, so I'm driving.
Okay.
But I'm listening.
Okay.
sounds like it might be fun. So I just decided to pop in and say hi. How have you been?
I've been good. A lot's happened over the last 4, 5, 6 years. For those who know, Alan, I met 4, 5 years ago. I don't know, something when George and Matt and Will House
It's been a long time. At least 5
came
years.
to Houston. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they came to Houston, and somehow we got wind, whatever, and we got invited. We went up to the park, and we all hung out for the day. And I met Alan and his family, and my son was there. So we had a really, really fun day that day. It was fun. An unofficial kind of a meetup.
Yeah, it was fun, and the zoo was quick. We walked through that, but we had so many things to do, and we had to get to the restaurant. And I think I can't remember. Like, I give up on Houston. I let Houston have that one.
Yeah, thank you. You moved away on me. You moved away before we got the GPR.
There was a whole bunch of holes dug in Tranquility, not by me, but by somebody.
That's what I heard. There's somebody on here who is dead set and said that they've dug big holes over there and stuff like that.
If you went on Sunday and you had a vest and a hard hat on, dude, the cops drive right by you. They wouldn't bother us. And I just probed. Like, I probed that moon mound, the one that's right there in the center.
Yes.
I tried to probe every 4 inches just so that then what people don't realize, if they don't know Tranquility, is that's a parking deck underneath of it. So it's not very deep. Some of the deepest places are 3 feet, and some of the shallow places are barely a foot.
Well, yes, I knew that, but I never knew the actual 4 feet maybe is the deepest anywhere, 3 to 4 feet. Yeah.
There's that one triangle that's right next to the furthest, so like the westmost fountain, big fountain.
Yeah.
And we dug in the very, very center of it, and we dug all the way to the concrete.
Wow.
Probably 3 feet by 3 feet, and then it was about 3 feet deep.
So it would have been.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, and then you have to have a rain, because that ground is so hard. If it doesn't rain, you have no chance of, like, you'll kill yourself. It's so hard. It's like cement. But if it rains, it's like butter. It's nothing.
Sticky butter.
You can dig a hole in 2 minutes. It's nothing.
Right.
And there's fire ants everywhere.
Yes. Yeah, people forgot about those stories. I remember somebody in New Orleans said the guy went down there and he was like under a bush, and he said all of a sudden he realized that fire ants were on him, and it didn't kill him, but he went. It got real crazy with all the ants. So yeah, fire ants are another problem. But that's interesting.
They've eaten up my ankles before.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They get you out here if you're not paying attention. If you walking the dog or whatever, and you're not paying real close attention to where you're at. Once they get on your feet, then they do it. It's amazing how small the ant it is, but how much it hurts, and you start noticing it happening. So, but it's interesting. Something came up. Will Starman Gate, whoever he is, Will had been bringing up this thing the other night about how the old where would BP bury things, like you have to go to certain, whatever park you're in or whatever, there's kind of is it a good spot? Is it a possible spot? Is it too open? Is it secluded, not secluded? Tranquility Park, as much as everybody likes it, or a lot of people like it, you have to factor in that interesting thing you just talked about. They forget that, like, most of where they think you could maybe dig a hole is only maybe 3 feet deep. So it makes it very close for him to, you could put it at 2.5 feet and still have a couple 1.5 feet, 18 inches above. So it almost just barely meets the requirement. But I don't know if BP would have known that at the time. until you dug a hole. And then if it wasn't deep enough, you'd be like, uh-oh. So that's why Tranquility becomes like, iffy.
And I've kind of moved away from Tranquility. Like, I'm not, like, again, I put no thought into Houston. But with all the address stuff that I found,
Right.
There's not a good address for Houston. Nothing works. The numbers don't work. The puzzle numbers don't work. There's only one number that works, and it's the obvious one.
Right.
982. It's the only number that could be an address. And it's literally just the train, and the train doesn't move. That's it. I mean, which is what you're supposed to do, I'm sure, but I was stubborn at first, so.
I remember.
Too easy, right?
Yeah, no, I remember.
So I moved away, went to Tranquility, did lots of digs, but for sure, if it's addresses, it has to be the train. So it has to be at least in that general vicinity.
Yeah, well,
of the train.
I have it. From the train, I have it across the lake at that spot where the four trees from PB Works originally started, and I started after going through and finding most of the park has been redone again, and so there's almost no place in the park that hasn't been dug up, buried. It would have been destroyed, or it's under 3 or 4 feet more of soil. So I started one day, and then one day it just hit me. I'm like, I wonder over by the trees, which Oregonians, PB Works, if you guys ever look at that, he had always had that conclusion that the 4 trees were there, and they were there. There's only one left. But it's like, well, did anybody ever dig under that path? Because the path came later, and I can't find anybody that they didn't know this exact spot of the center of the 4 trees, and that ends up under that path. And I don't think anybody ever really dug under the path because it's out in the open and such like that. So to me, it's the one spot that I'm so curious about. It's my last spot in Herman Park, because if it's not in that area of that part of the lake, a northern part of the lake, that doesn't seem to ever have been dug deep. They put the path over the original ground at some time. So they never dug it up. And then the changes that happened along the edge of the lake and the railroad tracks that got moved didn't affect that spot, that if that's the center of the 4 trees was the actual spot. It never got destroyed that way, or so far not yet. They've done a lot to the park. They're doing a lot to the park. They just haven't pinpointed that area and gone over there and done something drastic. So that's my last spot, that to prove or not prove that old thing about where the 4 trees are. And I've done a bunch of research on it, and I've got videos and some old photos, and you sit down and you can triangulate, correlate, figure out where the 4 trees were using other things that are still over there. And I think I got a pretty good spot where the center, so a 2x2 center, because I don't know exactly how big the trunks were and, exactly where you would measure from. But 2x2, if it's not, unfortunately, it's under that gravel path. So like you say, the ground is hard as a rock. Then you add this gravel path to it, and it becomes, kind of really hard, unless it's a rainy day or the rainy season. So, everybody thinks it's the factor of digging. Sometimes it's just not that easy because of the weather conditions, or the soil. So, but anyways, that's my last spot in this. I think it's Herman Park, and that's the last possible place that it could.
Always bring water if you're gonna get to the water's
I know.
The ground.
I've learned that. Yep, I've learned that, and I've got the lake right there. So a few times I've had bottles that I could go fill up and kind of pour over there as if it was an accidental big wet spot in the. But how you were here, so how the ground gets really weird. But Let me see real quick. I see Robbie 2. I'm not sure I know who that is, or I've forgotten. I see you post things. Tree Man, I don't know. Denver guys has been new to Discord. I've noticed him, or on Facebook. I've noticed more. If you guys aren't familiar with this, and there's Scott. Hey, Scott. If you're not familiar with this, and Daniel, there's a button that should say something you want to speak or wave your hand or something like that, and that'll tell me you want to say something or you want to jump up here, and I can move you up. If we get a lot of people, this works out nice where I can move the ones talking and then the other people can listen. So I am looking for questions from new people. Oh, Kimmy's too. She, I forget if I know them. New. If you're new, there's a button about waving your hand and that'll make you ask a question. I can bring you up and you can ask your question or whatever you want to talk about. So just anytime you do that, I'm here alone without my other guys who generally watch for questions and stuff. And then anytime you're on the, you can chat. There's a bubble there with a chat thing over to the side, and people can ask questions there. If anybody, do me a favor, if anybody is watching like on YouTube or can see the Facebook or the YouTube, and if somebody asks a question there that seems interesting, could you just interrupt me and then we'll answer their question, because it's being recorded. I think George turned it on probably by now. So it's being recorded. So maybe they can hear their question being answered, and maybe tomorrow they'll hear the question. So, here comes Daniel. Daniel, did you want to talk, or you just having a moment there? I'm going to move Coffee back down so you can wave when you're ready to talk again. Oh, what's up, Daniel?
Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I am sitting here enjoying the rain on the east coast of Florida. I had a question, actually. I don't know if he's still here. Alan, I guess.
Alan's here.
I think I saw Alan posted that he went to Josh Gates or something like that. I want to know how his experience was.
No, it was fun. We got there early, and still the line. I mean, my gosh, there was probably 100 and something people that did the backstage meet and greet. A lot of fun. So we got to meet him, and then I felt like he gave us a lot of extra time. He signed I had 2 original books, and one's going to charity. He signed those, and he put a motivational message in it, which I blacked out because only the buyer is going to see that. And then he let me talk about The Secret, and I told him what I thought it was, and it was addresses. And he said he was genuinely curious and said, "I've not heard of that." I said, "Well, it's address theory." And then I got to talk about it. And Mia said it was 2 minutes. It felt like 60 seconds to me, but I went back and wrote everything I remember saying, because I remember everything I said, and I wrote it down, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way I could say that in 60 seconds.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Alan. I was just curious if he dropped any clues to you, said anything that you thought stuck out more than others, or, maybe I'm asking too deep of a question for a public forum, but I just thought I'd ask.
Well, you didn't go to the show, but so in that show, he did have me stand up because I had the 2 books. He's done a lot of questions on The Secret.
Hey, Alan, hang on to your thought a minute. You're breaking up. You're breaking up, Alan.
Okay.
Wait until you get in a better reception, and maybe we'll come back to that. So we'll come back to you. Hang on to that thought, Daniel. We'll come back to it. So that's interesting. To be honest, I didn't know Alan had the address theory. I've seen people talking about addresses more and more, but I didn't realize he'd done that. He used to do, he still does probably, anagrams. So for anybody down here that likes the anagrams and some of those, he had, I remember him showing me his phone, and he had a list of thousands of different anagrams that he thought, and some of them seemed like it was trying to tell us something. And it was always, fascinating, but I don't know if it, it's one of those things where I don't know if it helps you, or maybe like the back of the book, does it help you or does it give you ideas that then you can go look into? And maybe that's where the help comes in. I don't know if there's any, exact, and he might come back on when his reception is better, come back on and give us his best anagram.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're better now.
Okay. And we're in a rainstorm right now. So stop doing anagrams. I've not stopped believing in anagrams.
Okay.
Anagrams and my eyesight went out. Like I lost, like I have to wear glasses now. I had perfect vision before that. But you stare at a phone for 8 hours a day doing all these anagrams. I said, you know what? I'm done with anagrams. It's killing my eyes. Still have to have glasses.
Yes, you had a lot. But finish your thought on Gates for Daniel.
So Gates answers it, and just like he tells everybody after he meets with them, don't call me unless you find one. And literally, that's what he's telling everybody, is that he's done.
Right.
The only way they do another show on one is if you do one of them. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I just want to say that first of all, thank you, Alan, for sharing. I appreciate it. I'm assuming you're in Florida somewhere, but I could be wrong.
He's over
I'm in Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right down the road from me. I'm down here in Edgewater.
Okay, yeah, you're real close. We should get together.
I would love to. Listen, I'm for everybody that's listening. If you're in the Florida area, I'm going to talk to my significant other. I'm going to see about doing a meetup at our school in Edgewater and see if we have space for about 75 people or so, give or take. And I would love to get a group of people together just to meet up and talk The Secret. It would be wonderful. And perhaps if somebody is like super technically inclined, we could even do it like on a Sunday afternoon or something, or Saturday or something, and let everybody know ahead of time. Do like a Facebook event or something. I was talking to George about it, I think, recently, and I'm going to put something together maybe in July. So probably most likely mid-July. That's what I'm gonna say. So that'll be really cool. And I found something else out too that I want to share with everybody. I went somewhere, boots on the ground, for a couple hours, and it was funny. I was talking to somebody, and I was at a park, and a park ranger said, "Hey, we got a phone call from Josh Gates not that long ago about The Secret." It was kind of interesting. I don't know.
He didn't share any stories during the show about anything new. And one of the last things he did was, the dig in Charleston, and then he interviewed John on the Josh Gates Tonight during COVID. And honestly, I think that was and then obviously the Boston episode, and that was it. And I think the Boston was before the interview, because I think the interview was one of the last things he's ever done.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know the time frame in which he actually called this place asking some questions, but they were very adamant. They know who he is, and he did ask some questions, but I don't remember how long ago it was or if they know. But I'm going to see what else I can find out. It's kind of interesting that that a park ranger would share with me that he had called there asking some questions. So I thought it was kind of interesting anyway, and thought I'd share with everybody what I heard.
Okay. Now, remember, some new people. I do know Jimmy. And then Ash asked a question over in the chat, and I'm not quite sure. Somebody posted numbers on the Boston picture, top right of Boston Globe. It read 11220. Interesting zip code. Could also be 11223. Found that well, Ash, I think there's already been a zip code for the North End there found in the painting. So I don't think it's those numbers. Maybe part of those numbers, but not those numbers. So you might ask on the Boston channel maybe to see I don't have it handy to just show you where but they do have zip codes, but wasn't. Oh, just a note. That was just a note. It wasn't a question, people. Okay, then noted, and we're moving on. Zip. There's a zip for the park in Brooklyn. Oh, I guess you have a zip code theory going. Okay, if you just need to put that down on paper and then show everybody, and maybe some of them, because I don't know. A lot of people have. Okay, so Kimmy S. from the late memory, but listen to everybody. Okay, yeah. I know we do get a lot of people from the UK and Europe involved in the secret too, which is fascinating because a lot of them are never going to be coming over here. But that was that. Yeah, so new. I don't know anybody here new within the last year, new within the last 6 months, kind of thing. Anybody? Or we can. I have somebody looking at Facebook, or if anybody asks questions on Facebook, somebody jump up and say yes. Okay, so Robbie 2 is new within the last 6 months or something like that. Any questions? One of the burning questions over the last, but not Facebook. One of the burning questions was like for newer people who come and get started, are there questions that aren't getting answered that, there's the 12 Treasures has a frequently asked questions section. There is, resources out there, different websites that, have different sites and stuff. What questions, some questions I know we can't give you a definitive, absolute answer, but maybe I can point you to the right spot. That's what I'm always curious is if there's, maybe there isn't. Maybe it's just always the same old, how do we know the verses are correct? How do we know the cities are correct? How do we know, how do we know anything? And some of it is not off the grid. Some of it is not, it's just compiled over the years, and you can go back and look at Q4T, and you can look at the PB Wiki, some of that. There's some interesting stuff on there that might be still true and all that. You have to take it all together and kind of see where it's come to this day. And then, some of it you sort of should accept if you're a new person, but you don't have to. You certainly have to take the information, and then you can verify for yourself why, like, the cities are correct. They've been told that, we've kind of got that they're correct. They worked it out, but then it's been somewhat confirmed. Some people might say it's not confirmed, but it's pretty well confirmed. But even if you doubt one or two, you can work that out on your own. You don't have to get upset, or nobody has to get mad about it, and there's no demanding anything. So just always curious how we get into these new people come and they want to argue things. So this is your big chance to ask the questions that you're afraid to ask on Facebook, because those people will yell at you. I'm watching a couple people typing. I'm hoping this is a question. But anybody else have Jimmy, how you been? Jimmy, we were talking about you the other day, you scamp. And I didn't know you were in your 50s. Somehow I thought you were a young man, and you're a little bit more mature than I thought, which is good. I'm pretty sure that's the right Jimmy, so let's hope I'm talking to the right Jimmy. And off the grid, you're new. I saw you new to Discord. I don't know if you're new to Facebook or you're new to The Secret. If you have any questions, there's buttons there, just something about waving to ask questions. Just hit that button and it'll show me a hand, and then you can ask.
Hey, I just saw Alan posting a thing about how to change the speaker. If you're on an iPhone, you swipe up from the bottom, and it'll tell I give you an option to change to speaker versus the phone itself, or an internal speaker. You can go to speakerphone if it's an iPhone. If it's an Android thing, I'm not quite sure. It's a little different, but I would guess wherever the camera or microphone controls are, swipe up or down, and that'll probably get you what you need.
There it is. Found it. Thanks, man.
Oh, wow. See the things you learn now after the night is over. And you're summing up all the things that we learned from this. That may be the most valuable tip.
And you're welcome. No problem. Happy to help anytime. Happy to help anybody.
There you go. There you go. So anybody else? So Alan, what are you working on? What are you really working on? Now you address theories. Address.
Yeah, I only work on 5 puzzles. I don't work on
All of them.
the first 2 and Roanoke. I don't work on those. The middle of the book. So obviously 3 and 4 are solved. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those are the ones I focus on.
Right.
Because they have kind of a pattern predictability. I mean, so, and it's all, and yeah, that's what I work on. I mean, I've already figured out those, but I mean, that's all I work on is address things. Trying to figure out, did he hide anything else? So like the newest thing, I mean, nobody likes it because nobody likes Postman Square, but the newest thing for Milwaukee is, so a lot of times, not every time, this book does not follow any kind of rules. There's like a hint in the verse right above it. So like Milwaukee, so I really think it's the 135 West Wells. So the cast in copper is because pennies aren't cast. They're not melted and cast. They're stamped.
Right.
So stamp, postman, you see the connection there. And then at the end, it's first, 3, and then a proud tall 5th. Well, I mean, the lions in Lake Park are very tall. I think they're 8 or 9, 10 feet tall. I mean, they're tall. But the lions on the Germania are like 40-something feet up in the air. They're really tall. They may not be as big a statue, though, but they're really, really tall. But anyway, first, 3, 5th. Well, that's the address of the Germania, 135 West Wells Street. Anyway, the hint above, I think I posted it in Dustin's group, is the ace. A is 1, C is 3, and E is 5. 135, right there. Because the number itself doesn't work very good.
For the ace, the San Francisco?
Ace is a clue to how the verse ends in verse 8 for Milwaukee. I can't remember them all, but the first 3 and then proud tall 5th. First 3, 5th. Those are the last numbers of the verse. And then it says the treasure waits. So anyway, that's what I'm working on, is trying to see if there's a hint right above it. So like San Francisco, if you don't know, I have to send them money tomorrow.
Oh,
so
okay.
They can approve. They're not going to approve it. They're going to deny it. But anyway, I'm going to send them the money. I'm not going to email them. I'm not going to ask them. I already know the answer, though. They're going to tell me no. I'm still going to send the money, get my no, and go on from there. But there are tons of hints in the verse that's next in 6. A ton.
I like that. I'm going to send them the money. They're going to say no, and
they're going to say no.
Right. I know. It's like
you can't dig where I want to dig, where I want to go.
Okay.
It's not dangerous. They're just not going to let me.
Let me look here. Somebody. Okay. First, Robbie asks, few of you are from Florida. Are you working on the St. Augustine puzzle or others as well? I'm California, and so San Francisco is closest to me. I think most, generally most people, they might focus on the closest one to them, but they work on other ones. Like, I can't say I work on other ones with the same intensity I did with Houston because it's, my home puzzle. So probably a yes to that. They can answer for themselves in a minute. Then it says, I like how Milwaukee assumes verse 8 is only verse that includes the word walk, given the treasure hunt. You'd think the word would appear in other verses, Milwaukee. I don't understand that, but I have a feeling he's saying that the verse has walk, and then it's Milwaukee and the rebus and stuff. Let us see. And then Alan are finding the address theory to fit all puzzles. Oh, Alan, are you doing this with all the puzzles, or have you found just a certain number of them that the address works?
Oh, okay. I was on mute. In my opinion, again, I don't work on 3 puzzles. Every single puzzle I work on, so 5 plus the found, address theory works for every single one of them.
Okay, there you go.
Every single one of them. New York is the best.
Oh, well, New York needs something to
The
break
puzzle above gives a hint. Well, the puzzle above is an address. 69 West 9th Street is the path entrance right across from the Jefferson Market Garden. My God, that's like the best hint in the world. How has New York not been solved? I know the exact spot. Just saying. It's a volunteer puzzle. You got to have someone go volunteer.
Oh yeah, in nowadays, yes, you need a team person or a trusted or somebody to go dig your spot or dig these spots, and that's one of the reasons we're not finding some of these. Is people may have the right spot, maybe the right idea, but they can't get there to dig it, or all the different humps and stuff. But
So,
that's good.
yeah, that. But also, the actual garden runs on nothing but volunteers. And if you go volunteer, A, don't ever mention the secret, and B, they will give you a shovel eventually.
Right. Yeah, I've learned that. Happened to be a couple weeks ago. I was down in San Augustine and went to the Fountain of Youth and learned that never mention the secret. Don't say this. Don't even hint that you're doing that.
Well, I heard a story. I don't know if it's true, but a guy, we just went up to the Wright Brothers Memorial, I think in September, me and my son. Very quick trip. Went up there. Anyway, I came back and then I heard someone post. I don't know the person, but they said that they mentioned the secret and they immediately called the cops on them. So that's how serious they are now. They will ban you and kick you off the property if you even mention it because they don't want you there. Right. And I don't know if that's true.
Well, I would say that it may not be quite as true as they're making it sound. Maybe they were a little rude. Maybe it's the way they mentioned it, or maybe it was what they said after the fact. But I get that. I think that's a very true statement to most of these places now. It's not that, maybe you won't get the total anger and the cops called on you immediately. Maybe the national parks and stuff like that will be a little more forceful. But yeah, they don't really. It's best not to say it.
I don't bring my book with me. I don't
exactly
mention it. Just walk around, enjoy the park. We went to the Elizabethan Gardens too. Beautiful. Took tons of pictures. Very quick trip. It was just I had very short time. Went. It was great.
Was the Watergate? Did you go out towards the Watergate?
The gate was still standing, but man, it was. I can send you a picture if you can text me later.
Yeah.
Or just message me. It was still barely standing. I mean, it was just about to. It's probably got another year in it before it topples. And oh my gosh, at the way the water has come up to, where the hut used to be? There's a concrete pad, little hut thing. They've moved it back like 35, 40 feet. And the pad is still there, and they've made it like a lookout deck. Yeah. It is literally the sand is falling off under the first foot of that circle. And I'm sure by now it's probably 2 or 3 feet under that thing, and they probably condemned it. That hut's going to have to be moved again.
Yeah, well, they're doing something. George had a podcast on a Sunday, I don't know, a month ago or whatever it was, and some guy was showing the plan that they're doing to fix the erosion and redoing that whole coastline, that northern coastline, and that how far it had advanced, the water had advanced, and some of the pictures at that time. So yeah, that whole area, anything that if you thought it was sort of close to the beach or the back that area, it seems like it's gone.
You hear people talk about it, but it's so different to see it. You can see the Wright Brothers Memorial, but man, it is tiny. It is a speck of little bitty. I mean, you can see it. You can make it out.
Right.
Ain't much.
Right.
Steve, there was a question from somebody about what puzzles we're working on or location or something like that, wasn't there? Robbie asked if sounds like a few of you are from Florida. Are you working on the St. Augustine puzzle or others as well? And they're in California, so San Francisco is the closest to them. So the idea is, do you do other puzzles also? Okay, I just wanted to answer that because I've
go ahead.
To answer the question, one is yes, I'm in Florida. 2, yes, I do work on the St. Augustine puzzle. And 3, I do work on other puzzles, maybe not as extensive, but I think it's important as a somewhat new searcher. I think it's important to work on the other puzzles because it may give you a little more, for lack of a better term, a pattern or something to maybe assist with what I'm working on. So I think it's important to work some of the other puzzles too, just to make certain you're not missing something important that might help you with whatever puzzle you might be working on the most. So, and as a new searcher, if you will, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm always the type of person that asks questions, question authority, and find out for yourself. Follow your path. Follow follow what's in your heart. If you think you found something, run with it and see where it takes you. Don't ever stop searching what you think might be different, because it might very well lead you to the answer you're looking for. So do it, and do it with all your heart. That's what I say.
And I'm sure, again, any of the others that have joined in, if you want to throw a comment in, answer one of these questions. I'm just looking at the chat thing that we have on Discord. Anybody look on YouTube or Facebook, if somebody types in a question that looks interesting enough, we'll answer it, or we'll give them an answer. Can't say it's right or wrong. Most of the time, there's no right or wrong. It's kind of just what we think, and we all think things, so that's fine. I see a few people popped in, some of the anniversary hunt people, which is good. We were talking about that the other night. It was kind of, they had a chat on their own about the anniversary hunt for you guys, and people jumped on who hadn't been following it or hadn't really caught up on some of what was happening new. They have a little website thing that can give you a lot of the updates. And they found that very interesting. So we're going to try, it was suggested to me today to maybe can do one on the tribute. Maybe I'm going to find a couple people. George is going to help me see if I can get a couple of the more expert people who have been doing it and following it, and kind of can sum up where they're at with it. And so one of these Sundays, soon, one of these days, we'll do a tribute thing, and maybe everybody who hasn't really been following it or just interested enough to listen to kind of where they're at with it. I don't know where they're at with it, except in Cherokee Park is kind of so we'll do something like that. But the anniversary hunt was fun to talk about, even though I was shot down on my latest place. So, you don't always get the answer you want. That's the problem. But anyways, what Tree Man? I forget who. We got Shush Josh. That's a good one. I don't know if I know you. So if you're new, please ask a question or tell us about yourself. Or, I need you guys to talk more than me tonight. I don't always know what I'm talking about. So tell me
I'll answer that. I didn't say anything about St. Augustine. So I'm not very good at that puzzle. And I'm just now kind of looking at how addresses would work for that one.
Okay.
So the guy, his name's Thomas. So the guy that had a permit to dig right there across from the Lions, which the Lions are in storage, but
Tom.
we know him. In storage.
Tiki Tom. Yeah.
Great guy. Haven't got to meet him yet. I was going to go GPR for him, and then the cops ran him off because the city attorney made up something, and I'm just going to prosecute. No. So he had to leave, and he's working on getting it official again, and then the federal has said that's theirs. It doesn't belong to the city at all, and so he's redoing it or something.
Yeah.
Really wish him the best of luck. I mean, it's not a bad spot. I think they even had called 811 and made sure there's nothing that he's going to hit electrical or anything like that. But permission is, the cops were obviously shocked because they don't ever give out a permit. They're never going to give out a permit for the Plaza de la Constitution. That's never going to happen. But the flagpole, well, that's apparently federal land. So I hope he gets it again. Right now, still pending, but if he gets it authorized, I got the GPR ready to go, and I haven't used it in forever. So, but it works. I just tested on the house. You can see like where the footings are and everything when you run it down the hallway. You know exactly where the footings are.
Well, I need it in Houston for probably a half an hour. I need you to bring it to
You have to call me after, because there was something I was supposed to give you. Oh, pictures. And then there's something else I got to go over with you.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, that's secret, guys. You see that, how it works? That's secret.
All right, so there is, I don't want to get ahead of the gun. I want San Francisco is probably the best hope. That's what I hope. San Francisco's the best hope that we have. Maybe St. Augustine. So, I mean, if he gets that freaking permit, man, oh my God. I mean, what if he finds it? That would be amazing.
Okay, I'll just ask, and you guys with the questions, you throw your hand up there and ask, because you're never going to, you don't get Alan on the phone. You don't get Alan here, and he's new to this, so he's going to be one of our regulars. But Alan, so San Francisco, are you still thinking Golden Gate Park? Are you?
Oh, absolutely. And that's, of course, the only place where you can get a permit. And if you've never applied for one, if you're new, and I've been doing this since right before the Boston episode, like literally like a month. And then I bought the book right after watching the Boston episode, and then I took off, and then it went really, really fast, and it takes over your life, so you have to be careful. You have to be careful.
Alan,
and then, but hey, it's the only place where they will possibly give you a permit and let you dig. So, I mean, that's really our best hope, is that it's hopefully somewhere they'll let you dig.
Right. That's the yes.
But
Daniel
if they say no to my spot, well.
Hang on one second. Daniel had a quick question.
Yes, I do. Alan, how proficient and how confident are you if you got over top of a cask with a GPR unit, you would be able to...
Garbage. Don't waste your money. It was $7,000 wasted. If you're anywhere near tree roots or something, little anomalies, and this is going to be a little anomaly. This thing's meant for really finding kind of bigger objects, large, heavy, like a concrete footer that's much thicker. It finds that no problem. And all it is just the V's get bigger and deeper right there on the screen. Complete garbage. Your best bet is rain and probe. That is honestly your best bet. You need soft ground, and you need a probe, and you need to tap the top of the cask. And I also just bought a 3-foot drill bit. So if the ground is soft or if the ground is a little difficult, you can just drill. Because when you pull your drill bit up, you're going to have a little bit of plastic on it if it's plexiglass. If not, you're not going to have much of anything on it, unless the dirt knocks it off on the way up.
Right.
So you'll see.
Yeah, I'm a little. I'm not a GPR expert by any stretch. I have a friend of mine that
come over and we'll bury something, and then we'll just see, man. Let's do an experiment and make it live. Let's do it.
Hey, listen, I've got to come down and see me at our school. I got a 2-acre schoolyard. We could go bury a mock.
I'm off tomorrow.
And
text me or message me your number after this, and let's get together, man. Absolutely. I work about 2 days off 2, work 2, off 3, work 3. Yeah, that's it. I work basically 50% of the time. So
I got you. I'm on summer hours right now, so I have some open availability to sit down and chat, man. I would love to. Let's definitely get together.
Well, people put a lot of hopes on GPR, and that's good. I'm happy to go, but then again, like I told the guy on the sandbar, no, it's not on a sandbar. It's just not.
No, right. I honestly, I mean, if it's something you want to do, I'm all for it. I'd rather just merely talk to you about the secret. But
you can do both.
I'm down for whatever. Man. Have some fun.
You could do both there, Daniel.
Well, I have a lot to say about the secret. That's for
sure.
You can. I do a lot of work. I don't post a lot. I do a lot of work. A lot.
You slowed down on your posting.
Well, I think
well,
I'm
I'm
getting
not-
close. So that's one reason why I'm slowing down.
Okay. I'm not on the other Dustin's and all those, that site. So if you're posting there, I haven't, I don't see those.
Well, he gave it to me. It's my group.
What? No,
Or I'm
go.
one of the admins. So I mean,
Okay.
but I mean, when he did it,
Alan, wait a minute, 1 second. Okay, for people newer thing, there is other sites that are the secret that you are run or were run by a guy named Dustin White, and he was friends with John Michaels a long time ago. They split off from what we know as the Facebook pages, or what we usually say as Facebook pages. So there is a bunch of pages, smaller, maybe not as many people on them, a different group. Okay, so just so you guys some of you might not know what we're saying. So Dustin has kind of backed away from what I've heard from another of the moderators.
He's working on other treasure hunts,
Just other
basically.
stuff. Yeah, he's kind of
Things that make money, because the secret, there's no money in it. It's nothing but a money pit.
So some of those other sites that seem slow or not as many people on it, it's like Alan's like the moderator or the administrator. And then I know one of the other guys told me he was doing it for Dustin and pretty much was in charge of it and watching over. So it's not the same as our Facebook pages. It was a separate kind of organization group, but a lot of us were on all of these. There's crossover to all of them. So you'll see sometimes the same identifiers, but so for those who didn't know that, you just learn something.
And you'll see me post on that page more often, just because I just want to keep the conversation going. So I'll just post some little things just to get some conversation started.
Good. Okay, that's good. I didn't really even realize that you had kind of had to take over one of them, like that other guy said he did. So good. That's nice to hear. Anubis, if you want to, there's any other new people come, and if I haven't said it already, there's a little button down there that you can wave your hand or says something, speak or something. Yes, that's the button. I'm inviting now. You can. Okay, new person or newer person. So, did you want to say anything? Like introduce yourself? Anubis.
Hi, yeah, I'm Brandon. Hey, how's it going?
Brandon.
Yeah, I was on a couple weeks ago too.
Was it Brandon L? Are you Brandon L?
No, Brandon Y. Brandon.
Okay, there's another guy that was Brandon L on there. Okay, so you're a different Brandon.
Brandon's off. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought that I couldn't hear you guys at first, but I think I got it figured out now. So it's all good. Just wanted to pop on and see what's new, if anything new is going on, and any new theories out there, or whatever. What's the topic for tonight, if there's any?
Okay. The topic for tonight was just mostly Q&A for new people, stuff that they want to ask, maybe I'm afraid to ask on Facebook or, out in the pub, just stuff sometimes they want to ask that they're afraid to ask, or just good questions. And then we've talked a little bit about St. Augustine, and Alan is our friend from long ago, or my friend from long ago, and he does certain things of it. I did notice, I will get to that comment there, George, that I might as well. He said Dustin has given away his thing. Dustin has not. He's given away his websites, or he's had people take them over for him a few times, many times over the years. So Dustin comes and goes. But if you ever hear Dustin White name, that's who we're talking about, He's just not as active as he used to be. So it's not.
He's still there.
He's still around.
He'll make a comment.
I know. No, I don't want to make it sound like he died.
Not gone. He's not giving up. He's got so much other stuff going on, I think.
Right. Like all of us at times just put it on the back burner, a lot of the things. So that's, nevertheless, there are two kind of website Facebook pages that sometimes might get confusing as to which one George and the podcast side of it, and then the other ones are the Dustin created ones on the different side of it. But there's all of our same people are on both many times, so, but that's just for So Anubis. So we're just talking about stuff. If you have something you want to bring up, this, we're just rambling on and talking about the day, and same with all you guys down there. If you want to throw a comment in or a question,
I would. I mean, if George is here, I'd like to ask him a question, maybe a little bit, or not just him, but everybody. I guess.
Well, just ask it out loud. And George is listening. Sometimes he jumps in and talks. Sometimes he forgets to turn his mic on, I heard last week. But he might put it in an answer in the chat because, he may be doing other things while he's listening. He's monitoring things. So ask the question out loud and maybe he'll.
Yeah.
Here it comes. He's typing.
Not even just a fan, but a participant. And somebody that is uses the secret in the classroom to get kids interested in history and stuff like that, and also to just use as a for mathematics and everything, because you can look at the puzzle in all kinds of different ways, right, as we know.
Sure.
But a long time, I don't know how long it's been. It must be now a year since one of the boots dropped about San Francisco, right? San Francisco being super close. And there was that episode where you guys went out to the Fairmont Hotel and met the doorman there. It was a really nice guy. Reminds me of my dad, actually. And went and got a drink and at the cool bar, and I had the martini and all that stuff. And it's I remember George saying something along the lines of, we're just waiting for the second boot to drop, and that he was waiting on information or something like that, that he was going to confirm it or something like that.
I know where you're going with that.
What I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just say, I know he typed in that he's eating a sandwich, so he must be eating dinner or something. So that's probably why he's not talking things. So he's heard that. And you're right. I don't know if it was a year and a half ago when that San Francisco video and the whole thing, and there was a seemingly reference to there was more coming. And I guess I always thought, I don't know for sure what the exact answer, but I always thought it had something to do with he didn't want to give away something that maybe the documentary might,
Oh, okay.
So when he comes back, he may come on at some point or type in something on the
when he's not busy typing. I'm typing. I can't type because I'm eating a sandwich. George, it takes just as amount as the same effort to type that as it would to type an answer.
Oh, I think he'll pop on. Don't worry.
George is.
I think he's coming. Let me see if that's what he's trying to.
I just was curious, because I think that's such a solid theory. And
Here we go.
It's a really, really good sandwich.
Okay.
What kind? What is it? You go for?
It's like a mojo marinated chicken breast. It's really good. It's like a citrus marinade.
Well, you got to marinate the chicken breast. I think that's what really is. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
There's nothing in the documentary that you guys don't know. Really, what it is there was just a bunch of people that were working on that. Right, there was a shitload of people who were working on the San Francisco thing, and some of the people brought information to when they were working. Some came on just to help out, and some brought their own information. And one of those people has a really, really, really good piece of information that I think they just don't want to share. And it's it's not my place to share it. That's kind of what it is. It doesn't really change anything. It really just reinforces some stuff. So it's like I said, I've never really. I was pushing for a while for them to say it, for them to talk about it, but now it's now that I think about it, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't really. It only reinforces it if you already kind of believe in the idea. So,
gotcha.
It's not as important. I think maybe I worded it the wrong way in the video, where it's not as important as people think it is. It's just it's a really, really nice thing to have if it were to have come out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I get that's a good question because we've made jokes about it and wondered the same thing. And yeah, George, I think it did come off as like a cliffhanger, and we've been all waiting, but we've been waiting for the documentary too. So it seemed like it all was
okay, good.
so, but good. That answers that. See what we're learning. See what we're learning.
Steve, I heard a comment earlier. I think Anubis said something about teaching kids in the classroom or something like that. Was there?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to answer that because my lady and I have a private school, and the answer is yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We have talked to the students about The Secret. Yes, some students have given some feedback about it, and yes, the St. Augustine puzzle more in particular.
Really? Yeah. And what do you like? Do they? What I've gotten is it's almost the exact same feedback from adults that join The Secret, and it's immediately I've solved the whole thing. Like it's like wait a second. All right, I was there once. Okay, I think everyone goes through that stage. There's the 7 stages of grief. There's the 7 stages of coming to The Secret. Right. Number 1, you didn't solve it immediately.
There was a lot of kids at the show that asked questions. So there's a lot of 16 and up that they're this thing just keeps growing with young people.
So listen. So here's the crazy thing. My lady and I at our school, we have some unique abilities children that are on the spectrum and different things. And oddly enough, one of them looked right at me with the St. Augustine painting and said, "Why don't you turn it upside down?"
Right.
It's like, why? And they're like, "Well, flip it upside down. I'll show you."
Ooh.
And I was like, "Okay, wow, that's pretty
interesting."
Not even 30 seconds. You've looked at a book or a picture, and you said, "Flip it upside down." I'm like, wow.
Exactly, because that's asymmetrical thinking, but also it is kind of like hinted at in that painting. It's like because you have that reflection, right, from the that's going on with the island or whatever with the tree off in the distance. It has a reflection of water, right? A pyramid almost.
Daniel, have you seen my theory of what it means? The painting.
No, actually, I don't think I have.
So,
see it.
What is it? What's the guy? He's like a Spanish conquistador or something, right?
Cortez.
He's come to Florida, the coast of Florida, and he's planted his flag. Where would he plant his flag? On the beach, right? As soon as he touches land, right?
Yeah.
And there's a back of the book clue, believe it or not, that one of those it's that door with the lantern right beside it, and it mentions something. I can't remember how it connects. Carly would have to remind me. But that alleyway in New York was the same one next to that door. It's the same one used for the band, The Doors. And on that album that they used that picture of, so the door that he took a picture of, Ben Asen, that alleyway, which is Sniffing Court. Yeah, that sounds right. Sniffing Court. That's the alleyway for the Doors album. Can't remember the name of the album. Strange Days or something strange. There's a song on there called Horse Latitudes.
Yes.
What the heck is a horse latitude? Because he's on a horse.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
well, the horse latitude is literally right above St. Augustine, the bottom of it. Well, you go
the recent horse of JJ.
So get you a map. You find exactly where 30. I think it's 30 degrees. 30 degrees. I think St. Augustine's right under it. My numbers may be wrong because I ain't done this in a minute. But you find the bottom of the horse latitude. Put a pin on that and draw a line exactly down. It goes right through the heart of St. Augustine.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No.
I think it's neat. And then that connection was hidden really well. And as soon as I saw horse latitudes, I said, well, it is a latitude and longitude puzzle. Let me figure out where the horse latitude is. It's just 6 miles above St. Augustine.
So maybe there are pop culture references like in the puzzle.
Dude, I'm a 100% back of the book. You'll never convince me there's not stuff back there.
Because that is a horse latitude. Like, you know what I mean? It's a pun. But like, But
Yeah.
also, one of the recent things that JJP shared, right? That was like supposed to be a key, like from the gift giver or whatever, was a black and white of a horse. Was it not? And so I don't know. Maybe it's telling us to look at the horse in St. Augustine. Maybe a little.
That is one of the neatest connections that was something I found last year, but that blew my mind.
It's cool. I hope it's true.
Like, if that's how you were supposed to figure out St. Augustine, other than the front of the book flat out mentions Fountain of Youth.
I'm surprised.
They literally, they give you the Castillo, they mention Fountain of Youth, and then that thing, dude, St. Augustine, and then of course he said it. It's an absolute guaranteed. It's absolutely in St. Augustine.
I think hang on listen to more Doors songs and
break a sec. Stop 1 second. I noticed a cheesequake. If you have a question or you want to talk, there's a button to just wave, and then it'll wave to me, and I can move you up to the talk. So I noticed I've never seen them. That's a new person too. So if you have any questions or comments, just find that little talk wave button, because we want to hear from you. All right, continue on, guys. Go on, back of the book. Alan will never give that up.
Yeah, and then
let's not get too deep into it, but yes,
Carly's here. So in the chat, you'll see the link to the album, right. And then one of the songs is Horse Latitudes. Yeah. And I couldn't not go look up Horse Latitudes in a puzzle that is 100% for every puzzle. They give you a latitude and longitude. Well, right. If they give you a horse on top of a rock planting a flag, well, I know exactly what that means. If the horse latitude's right above St. Augustine, I'm like, that almost looks like it's exactly above it. We'll just go perpendicular off of it. I mean, It goes right. Do you know it goes within like 16 feet of Magnolia Avenue, right there by the Fountain of Youth? That line goes right through the heart of St. Augustine. It does not go through the Castillo. It goes through the parking deck area where you park and where they have the festivals over there. It goes near that. It also goes through, where the big tall cross is out front where you pull in, there's a little circular planter thing. It goes right through the heart of that. I'm like, Good grief. That would be a good thing to check.
I was also thinking Boston, Paul Revere's Ride, which is referred to immediately. And also his ride is the Freedom Trail, where you basically go around and part of it to solve the puzzle is and is part of the clues is a horse ride, so maybe you're onto something. Maybe there is some sort of, but definitely with St. Augustine, that's pretty amazing. That's very cool.
One of my favorite finds from last year. Me and Carly found that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's good. Well, hopefully, but hasn't every place been, ground GPR'd and all that? So I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's certainly something different. I hadn't heard in a while. I noticed we got a question. I guess Strange Morris asked, and Alan, I spoke for you. I said you aren't doing the anagrams quite as much as you used to, or you've given up a lot of that kind of stuff. So he was asking. I don't think he asked it very nicely, but he kind of called it, So anyway, Strange Morris, just a better question. He just isn't doing them as much.
I almost never pull up. L's Anagram Solver is the absolute best. Carly gave me that link. It's unlimited characters, letters. Put as many as you want. It gives you every possibility. That is the absolute best. It just takes so much time. Nobody believes them. It doesn't prove anything. It gets you to look. So, like, the biggest one that I found was when I did New York's. It works for a lot of things. It works for Carly's theory in Story Park. It works for a lot of other theories. But when it doesn't work, it works for all the puzzles that were solved. It doesn't necessarily, it does eliminate spots, because if it doesn't work for your thing, then I just think it's probably not there. But it works for things that are probably wrong as well. Well, it just got me to looking for different things. So like the one that I found was like, SOL, so Statue of Liberty to Empire State, something like that. So I just drew a line on a map, and that's why I'm at the Jefferson Garden now.
Yeah, I think that's always been the case of that. It's hard to really say that it helps or it really points a thing, but maybe if there's a 1 or 2 or 5 or a few of them in these puzzles somewhere, maybe. Will it?
I would not encourage someone to try to do them. I just wouldn't. It's too much work. Too much work. Focus on something else.
It seems like a big rabbit hole. Even if there was one there, you should be able to stumble across that one easier than, losing your eyesight over.
Same thing, I think, with gematria and like in numbers. It's like, well, to a certain extent, yes, absolutely. Like coordinates, I think you mentioned, and maybe even zip codes and area codes, perhaps. But as far as like, well, first you got to add the 1 to the number of stars in the photo, and then and then look at the number of directions and angles with it, and then just it basically becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy to prove. You start off with a point with a proof, and then you go back and try to find and justify like your own like solve, you know what I mean? Which is fine, but it's just like it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point,
It seems like it's always been the case of, we talk about it all the time, and everybody's guilty of it at some point or often about the overthinking things. And if the numbers, lat long or a zip code or an area code, numbers used for, kind of what you would expect to find them at some point. You might have to look harder in some than others. But yeah, you're right. Then it becomes the whole numerology theory of numbers, and that's usually when it breaks down that anybody's going to believe in somebody's theory.
Yeah, it's astrology.
It takes too much to work it.
Yeah.
Not saying there couldn't be something like it or some simpler version, but it's one of those topics we always seems to always come back up to, that subjective or objectiveness. And most of the time when they're making up the theory that works for them or kind of fits in, it's so subjective that it's hard, to get enough agreement on.
Yep. I mean, it's tough enough to get agreement on the objective stuff, right?
Yeah, I know. I wasn't. That's true. Even the perfect objective fact is still hard to get an agreement on.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, at least it's lively. I'll say that. Like any field that's emerging, take it like any early development of like I'm not going to say fandom, but like research society or fan base or whatever, goes to this period of like kind of like figuring out the foundations of the axioms of the foundations of the thing, and then taking it on from there. We have to define the terms, because otherwise you're going to have complete chaos, So gratitude to like everybody, George and everybody, for like setting up a website and like a central hub of place for people to, and everybody that helps out, a central hub of place where like people can actually find out like, okay, right, this isn't completely like some subjective craziness, So anyway,
right, it's hard. It's still, I think, as a whole, we haven't gotten that real concise ball of facts or ball of almost confirmed. There's still so much on the outer thing that not confirmed and maybe, and it's throwing people off. But I tend to keep it real simple. So I'm sometimes too simple probably for most people's thing, but I don't like to think too hard.
Me either. And it's like if you can just let's agree that it's a book first of all. Okay, got that. Let's agree that it was like published in this. Okay, this person did it, and then you can just really go down and just say, okay, there are 12 puzzles, correct? Yes. 12 paintings, yes. You're supposed to pair them up. Got it. And then maybe you can have disagreements here and there and debate on what this means and that. But if you don't agree on some sense, on the same vocabulary, right? Or like you can't talk. Like if I'm a scientist, right? Or my brother's like a physicist or whatever, right? If he wants to talk to another physicist, he's going to use language I don't understand. Same thing with the priest, he's going to talk Latin to somebody else to like get the point across in a way that they can understand,
Right.
And that they've agreed to. It's like that they understand, like when they say like, oh, well, this is like exactly like, M theory in quantum physics. That person might understand it more than I do. Or, you know what I mean? So like when we say, okay, verse 8, image whatever, you know what I mean? Like we're calling it the Roanoke. We're calling it the St. Augustine painting. It's not another city, right? We're agreeing on certain facts. I think that's important because like it's important just to like lead people to finding these things, I think, and unfolding this whatever the secret is,
Well, that you in a nutshell, that's one of the big problems I find aggravating, or people find aggravating, is that you get to the point where you say, and then there's 12 puzzles and 12 treasures, and then somebody will go, wait a minute, I think it could be 13. We don't even get past that first part.
Hidden 13. Yeah, that was like right. That's
right. And we can't agree on where people are still bringing up other cities.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. They still bring up. Right. They still bring up other cities. And I ranted last week, I think one time, is like, I can't believe at some point we just got to say 12 cities. You can still have your own hobby with a different city, but, let's face it, it's pretty well confirmed. I can't say, I think they were confirmed as well as they can from brute force, and then JJP grunting and groaning and moaning and giving an eye. He kind of hinted, but then he's come out and basically said, gift givers kind of obviously said, I think those are the 12. Those are the 12.
Well, the other one that I think JJP said was that they were all coastal. I remember something about that, right? That they were all like essentially cities by water, on the coast.
I don't know if somebody else here might know that that keeps track of that. I don't know if JJP ever said that. I think that was certainly one of the things that they thought all of the cities have in common, kind of that they seem to be at a port or a coastal city. And they kind of all do. So maybe that's one of those similarities. I don't know if JJP ever said specifically.
Okay, I thought he had. I thought he said like somebody had pointed out, but like I forget exactly. I mean, George would know. He's the encyclopedia of everything. And but like but that
I like
commonality.
Yeah. So Mr. Encyclopedia of Everything. Remember, he called you that. But no, I'm laughing because it is funny how, and this is kind of the conversation that I think is fun, is because we'll be talking and you'll say JJP said something about them all being coastal things. And you'll say, wait a minute, let's go back. Because sometimes I've done it and I've thought I remembered a quote or some fact that I would have sworn that I remembered, but
right.
I find out that I read it wrong. And for 10 years, I've been reading it wrong, or 6 years, I've been reading it wrong. There's a the in there that isn't. So sometimes we get corrected ourselves because, after you've read the verses so many times, you start thinking you remember them, and maybe you're adding a word that you never realized you did.
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, memory's unreliable, so.
So sometimes we all need a fact check on.
Fact check.
You know,
Yeah,
we have to go back and say, did he say that or didn't he say that?
I will try to find. I believe it was either from I could be misquoted, like the Cleveland meetup, or the three. Maybe it was like, I guess, like that interview he did. I'm not sure. One of them with George. I'll have to go, but it was post a certain point. It was post the Boston. Was it post the Boston Solve? Something like that. Well, yeah, anyway, I'll find it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to like just throw out something, but yeah.
I'm trying to figure out. Strange Moore, she said something. When Palancar said that, he pointed left and right. I'm not sure what your.
Oh, I think I know what I'm talking about. That person's talking about when there was an interview.
Okay.
And it might be with George on The Secret, and he's talking, and I believe like JJP had like people on the Facebook page. You might remember this. Had like we're looking at his hands as if he had like clues on his hands on pen.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that
written on his hands. And at one point he said something like, they said, "Oh, San Francisco, is that east, or did I overcross them? Is that one that way and this one that way?" And people,
but is that like was that like about the bookend comment?
Yes, and people, but also if you think about it, the San Francisco painting with like the crossover lane or whatever with the cross,
right,
arms and all that, and the street name. So like, yeah, people are just like, wow, he was giving off so many hints in that.
Right. That's when. That's one of those you go back and look, and back in those earlier days, he seemed like, was he playing games a little bit with, making these hints or having fun with us by doing little things like that? And he probably was more so, like the symbol on the back of his hand. Yeah.
Because he said, there was definitely something.
Yeah. Hang on one second. Strangemore says he said the bookends are coastal cities and pointed to the left and right.
There you go.
Signifying east and west. Okay. But that's it's not necessarily saying he said all of them were coastal cities, but they all seem to have a port or, some kind of port of entry along some coastal water or certain water area. So
I'm referring to something different. I'll have to find it, but it's not that. It's with George, and I think he said something. Like, I didn't know, but somebody pointed out that, yeah, they were all coastal cities. Yeah.
They're all near along the water, and like Houston's inland, but it has the bayou and it has an inland port that they dug the channel all the way up to the city. So it's technically like a port city.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, there's sometimes, it's these little talks going back and thrashing. It's the same thing we've talked about a million times probably, but it's funny how new people would not have heard that, or they may not have understood it, or we all get confused on what he was talking about at any one time.
Behind and then go move on to the next thing or whatever. But like, I think it's important to like look at like, not so much the objective things, but just like, okay, this is important because it's a person who actually painted the paintings,
Well,
like it's.
Well, of course, you always have to, and I think that's what confuses some people, because he does have the merit, he does have the credibility, he is the other half of the verse painting, concept that I believe that it's all based on in the book, verse and painting, key to finding them is matching them up and then using both to get led to the treasure place. So when he speaks, we have to listen to it. But we also have found out that he, like the symbol on the back of his hand, I guess, was just for fun to throw people off.
Oh, that's so funny. Because when I saw that,
I think George would confirm that. I think that finally came out that basically it was more for, pulling our legs a little bit. And then they did it again when he did an interview, and there was the symbol stuff that was on the shelf behind him.
Oh, really?
That was just made up at the time. I think George and him. It has nothing to do with anything. It was to just make us go crazy.
Well, then you say, like, then how can we trust anything that he puts out and says, check this out? This is a key to that. Like the horse with the ball and the thing that just came out. Like, I look at that and I'm like, okay, and or like the dude that with the in the robe with the forest with the tree.
Okay, here's how I would say it, and it's probably there's probably a better or more elegant way or a more informative way. But at different times that he has been involved in The Secret, the early days in those first interviews when maybe EU started bringing it back up and it started coming back alive, he was playing more game. He didn't take it quite as serious. I think over the last, my 6 years or so, he has, like George has always pointed out, he's opened up a little bit more. He's actually been a little more probably sincere about some of it. And it doesn't, maybe he's not trying to play the game anymore. So what he says is probably more true than it's any kind of game thing. So I think when he said things has mattered, and like the horse and the owl, that is something he's trying to do through images, his image, and more images are coming, supposedly, at least another one's coming.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. George had said that he's working on it, but he doesn't know when that will come out. It'll come out though. But that's more like his way of doing it the arts way. If he can't really say what clues are, he can communicate it through this other, drawing way, and then that's for us to figure out. So
I get it. I'm just saying, like, it's just tough when somebody was having fun misdirecting and leading us on wild goose chases, and then comes out and says, "Here you go," and then, but really, it's an artist. And I say this with an immense amount of respect and for him, like that is sending on some wild goose chases for fun because a lot of people are probably jerks to him. I can imagine the jerks. It's just it must be insanely like you know what I mean, like scam. Like and so it's like so I get it, but like over time though, and in the past 6 years, as you said, I've seen a change too. Where maybe it means actually a little bit more than what he had originally thought, right?
And you can take his words as meaning less of that playing around game or especially, and then you can even get it this is just my personal opinion. You other people, you can speak up for yourself too. But like the EU stuff, whenever he's on EU, it's all edited and it's made to, Josh asks a question and then he answers and he's answering to Josh's question or, whatever, they put it all together. So there's that misleading TV kind of thing. So did he say it was the context exactly how we perceive it? Maybe not, maybe so. So it's a TV show. So what he says to George in person, I think is different than what he says to Josh in person in some ways.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you believe it. Yeah. How do you believe any of it? But again, that's just part of the...
But you got to contend with it regardless, whether or not you believe him, that you don't, or you don't.
Right, you just grain of salt with everything, and then keep it in mind that he said it, but then kind of relate it to some other fact that comes along, and then you can kind of go, oh, maybe that was more true than it sounded.
Yeah, that's how you navigate it. It's a tough one, But that's why I love it. The Secret.
Back of the book's the same thing, right? Because what was the exact quote they said about the back of the book? What was the wording? No additional clues back there? What was the wording?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have the exact wording of that handy.
I think the wording was very interesting.
What did it say?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was, there are no additional clues in the back of the book.
Interesting.
Well, the verses have all the clues, so that doesn't eliminate all those clues that you haven't found yet. I don't know. I just think the wording. I'd like to know the exact quote. I'm almost certain that's what it was. That there's no additional clues back there.
Are you talking about the article? The article where he says something about it?
Something where he was asked or something, and he Said there are no additional clues in the back of the book. Something like that.
Yeah. Jay, get on that. Jay, I need you. You always have these things when we need them.
Yeah.
Jay will work on that. If we had Sarah here, Sarah would jump right on that for us. Oh, wait a minute. I think it said that this is Chicago X. You guys can put your hands up and talk for you. I don't have to read your, right? It says, I think it said that the back was not needed to solve the puzzles. It doesn't say it doesn't help.
Ah.
But they also, I've always, when you read the Tale Simply Told, and you get through that, it's kind of like a introduction to the whole book, and it goes like section by section, what's coming up in the book, what each section will tell you about the fair folk or whatever. And the way and then it gets into and for the treasure hunt, to match up the painting diverse, it will lead you to a location of a cast or something like that. Then it says, the last paragraph in that says, and then finally you will meet the modern descendants of the originals. So it always to me meant that was the back of the book part from the guide to the fair folk. That was those were the modern descendants. So that, and finally, but everything else was up to that point.
Well, I was sold out the day that I used, like my Montreal theory, I used the lantern. And it mentions, there's the Jack-o'-lantern, or I can't remember the name of the story, something lectern. And in the story, it mentions Jack-o'-lantern. It's the October puzzle, right. Halloween, lanterns, Jack-o'-lanterns. I'm like, there's just no way. It's such a huge hint.
It's very funny, too, that the way that thing is written. I don't know. I have a theory. And I'm not sure this will ever be proved, or George can tell me I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think that the guy, Sean O'Malley was his name, who was the Harvard Lampoon guy.
Sean Kelly.
Sean Kelly, thank you. Rest in peace and stuff. Yeah. He had also written for the James Joyce Quarterly. And James Joyce often, wrote, really funny. Like Finnegan's Wake is and Ulysses is just filled with language puns that are really double entendres and double meanings and stuff like that. So, like you said, the person, whatever, these different characters, Jack-o'-lectern or whatever, or lecture, but it's Jack-o'-lantern, really. Those type of things were written by, I think some of them are, at least were suggested by Sean Kelly, because do we know what Sean Kelly actually exactly wrote? You know what I mean? Why is he credited? Because I think he wrote some of that stuff. And I think, some of it does contain additional things.
Break for action. The story goes that there was a book by, Sean Kelly and Ted Mann had written this fair folk satire book that they tried to sell as a book. And that they had this thing. I think it was somebody can give the exact detail. I think it was something about Fairies of Central Park or something. Anyways, they had this part, and this part later is where, when Byron was trying to get the treasure hunt book, Bantam didn't want it's too small. It was too small a book, say, to sell for $10 in the time. But somehow, either he did or somebody in Bantam, somehow they connected up with this old book draft thing going around with Sean Kelly and Ted Mann. And as Byron was a book packager, he was going to blend these together to make it like a full, something of a full book. And so... yeah, Ted and Sean actually wrote most of those characters in there, though later when we saw some notes, we can see where Byron edited some, maybe changed some names a little bit, maybe had somebody I doubt he did it. Maybe he did it, but added a couple characters. They made up their own characters. Maybe he could have had somebody make up something in the office, and then he edited down all that kind of stuff. But Sean and Ted did most of that if not all of what we see is the back of the book.
Yeah.
And that's why most of that came, and that was supposedly written before The Secret was even thought about. Like, you know, it wasn't meant, they didn't write it for the back of the book.
Right. Okay.
So there's a if I'm saying that wrong, people, and coffee day is coming. If I think, you know, if you think don't have the right context to the whole thing, then that's fine too. But the idea was it became more of a amalgamation or a
combination.
You know what I mean? He tried to make the front and the back kind of relate, because that's the modern descendants of the original fairies that, you know, for his treasure hunt that came across. So he was trying to get it to blend in.
Yeah, I saw it. I was thinking about it only because, like, there's a book called American Gods, and it's essentially about the same exact idea, which is it's a Neil Gaiman book, and he wrote all these different, like, really good books that did really good, been adapted into movies and all TV shows, Good Omens and all this stuff. But he wrote about the old ancient gods being kicked out of Europe, essentially, I think, and coming over to North America, especially to America. And it's called American Gods. You can look it up. It got turned into a Showtime series that the first season was pretty good. The second season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I think I started that, and I kind of got only through with you. But hang on one second. Break four. Jay did one thing in the article. It says more than 300 years ago, takes up 3/4 of the book, though the description is completely irrelevant to the treasure hunt. Okay, so it was talking about the back of the book part, the guide to Fairpoint. So it says completely irrelevant to the treasure hunt part.
Right.
Okay, so that's that. And then George did right. If you didn't read the thing, it's important to remember that every single person who worked on the book has said the back of the book doesn't matter to the treasure hunt. Even Japanese translations say they are completely unrelated. So there is a fine line, and maybe there's, you know, we'll always have this debate, but for the treasure hunt itself, you know, the back of the book or those extra things, they're not a help, or they're not, you know, relevant.
So much help out there. But you're not going to solve it without the back of the book. And when they get all solved, you know, it'll all come out. I mean, until someone digs one up and gives credit, you'd need a back of the book guy to dig one up, and then they'll just be like, "Oh, you know,
right.
maybe,
well, that's
maybe
how
there's something to it." And then you know, someone digs up two, and same, you know, maybe. It's just, if I'm running the treasure hunt, I'm not going to tell you where to look for clues. I'm going to tell you that, you know, anyway.
That's a good point.
Stick to what I said was the clues. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Okay. I would just say, and I'm not debating and I'm not taking the other side, except that when you read in the book, when you're reading the thing, it kind of talks about that, you know, matching up verse and a painting together. The key is having a match set. It'll lead you to the thing. It doesn't really imply anything about using the back book. Now, with that said, does the reading the creativeness of BP and changing things in some of the words, does it give you ideas for you to look in places, or maybe ideas?
There's a back of the book story to baseball players.
Yeah, something like that. Right.
There's a back of the book story to a gargoyle and gardens, and one was in a garden.
Right.
Yeah, there's no clues back there. Absolutely no clues.
Well, it's kind of like inspiring of a painting. People try to sometimes find the painting that inspired JGP, and they try to equate one painting that has to be what he used to be inspired. But inspiration can be a lot of things that he could put into a painting, and, you know, bits and pieces. So I'm giving the back of the book kind of thing. I'm not saying anti anything, except that it certainly could help a person who, if they were trying to figure out something, maybe to guide them to ideas like gardens or baseball parks, if there happens to be one. But I don't know if it, again, from what everything has been written, it seems to say it wasn't relevant. Or
I
it's
am
not what-
perfectly okay. People not using it. Do not use it. It's a waste of time. And I am absolutely going to use it. I think my best ideas come from that thing.
Well, that's right. And there's no, and certainly there's no one should, that's Alan. There's nobody's disagreeing what you should use for your own thinking, and that's the thing. If we were just trying to take it, and I'm not debating this, I don't even want to get on this, but really, if you take the pieces that are written, the written words, and people say, then it kind of throws it one way, but it doesn't mean you can't use them. And get some kind of inspiration or ideas from the back for whatever reason it is. Like anything else, people get ideas. I don't know where they get some of these ideas, but they get them and then they have a theory. So, God bless y'all who are the back of the book people.
Yeah, it's more work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work to use the back of the book.
Right.
I'm not really here. I just signed in for like 60 seconds. Which one of these people is Strange Morris? I kind of missed that guy because I used to like to.
He's not. He's been typing in the comments, and he once in a while he popped on there. He's been doing the comments, and then he popped in. I was hoping he would talk, but they've been doing more comment typing.
Is it his same username?
Fine. Yeah, same guy. I know. I'd like to. I have never said hi to him either, so that was good. And we have a few new people who are just
mad at him.
Pardon?
I used to get really mad at him. Oh, okay. I do see Strange Morris. Oh, okay. All right. I'm going back to
maybe he'll hear you. And Strange Morris, if you want to come get mad at her, she's here.
No, I was actually thinking about him. I was gonna ask whatever happened to him on here because I thought he disappeared.
He did kind of. He gave up on it. He gave up on
Reddit too. Yeah, I think.
But he's on Facebook, and then he was active for a minute there. So he might one day, we got Alan and Rob is quiet tonight, but he's been typing. So
yeah, okay. Well, people. I'm going back quiet for now. I'm going to try to be back later, but I'm listening on. I'll listen on here, I guess. I was listening on YouTube and looking at the comments.
Are there any questions on there, Sarah? Can you see if there's any questions like that?
Because then I closed YouTube, so I wouldn't be double listening. And I had people talking to me in the real world. So let me look.
We really didn't get any new people questions. If any of you are new people, I don't remember who Elfred is, but if you guys, if you have any questions about any I don't know, anything, you see what happens is we can get off into a different subject, which is fine and it's fun. We just don't want to we're not going to solve anything. We're not going to solve the back of the book and the front of the book. We're just all going to have our own still ideas. So you can see how it's crazy, but use what you're going to use. And then I don't know what Anubis is talking about now in the comments. I have a hard enough time talking than to reading and talking. But
no, I was just trying to read I saw there's some really people looking. I just found it because I'm kind of new to I'll keep all this. In the chat, somebody did share, is keeping up with all this stuff, and did share some really good images of interviews with Byron and the actual cover to that Doors album and things like that. So
yeah, Slim Pickens is Carly, if we use his name.
Oh, Carly. Okay.
If you know him and you,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it is. And so if you...
Oh, okay. Yeah, he asked me a question earlier, and I was going to reply to him, but I haven't... I'm just busy, and I will reply to him.
Right. He's been doing a couple, Friday nights, he gets in the chat and kind of goes over some of his stuff.
That's cool.
No, everybody knows who the name is.
Maybe I'm
wait a minute.
thinking of somebody else. Oh. Hang on.
Why?
Somebody asked me a question in Discord chat earlier, and I haven't responded yet, but I have an answer, or I will. And I get
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I just have to point that. I wait a minute, Sarah. 1 second, Rob. I don't know what doxing people is except giving their name when they're named. So if, Carly can send me a message, say, I appreciated not using my name. But most of the people, if I know their name, I know their name. So I'm there's no more secrets. I'm tired of the hiding who you are behind your mask. Well, I know it's a joke. I was just saying it. If you don't want me to use if I know your real name and you don't want me to use it, be sure to send me a message saying don't use my real name, something like that, because I don't remember.
Way worse than that.
I have a hard enough time. Remember, Scott is pizza guy now. He's pizza guy.
Scott's the pizza guy.
And
I've got
Chicago
that.
is Steve.
I don't know who Bob Dylan is.
That's me. I'm the newest Bob Dylan guy.
But I know Steve is there. So I know some of them by, please make up a fake name for me. Oh, we got
do not tell people that I sell drugs.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I tell them I take the gummies all the time. George, we won't tell them your real name.
Yeah.
Yeah. We won't tell them your real name, George. We've got a whole list of names.
Yeah,
everybody has a list.
George's real name, which is Anubis, yeah.
No, George is Johnny Windex, but nobody knows that.
Johnny Paycheck.
Hey, no. That was a shout out to Johnny Windex, who may listen or not to these.
Oh, there really is a Johnny Windex. I forgot. Yeah.
Well, there is a real man. Yeah, there is a real person. I think it's a man, but I'm not sure. I know him to talk to him well, but I still don't know if it's truly a man or a woman. But I think it's a man. I'm going to go that far. So there you go.
Oh, okay. I was wrong. It wasn't. I don't think that Slim Pickens had a question for me. It was Ash Simmons that had a question for me. I'll deal with it later.
He's from he's from Europe there, so it's But anyway, all right. So getting back off the name thing, if you don't want name and whatever, live with it.
I like name. I think doxing, what I've been told and I've seen is you give out the address, the place of work, and all.
Oh no.
Even it's not illegal. It's just like being a jerk, It's just So you not even close.
I barely can remember who is who half the time from week to week. So sometimes I guess I'm saying it over to my head so that I remember who everybody that I've met before on here. So
you're not putting up phone numbers. You're not exactly.
No. So okay, so we got off that. We can leave the back of the book. Use it or lose it. Use it or don't use it. Use it any way you want to use it. But basically, I wish we could, to the front half of the book, that first part, to the treasure hunt, that we could get back as a whole, and most of the conversations more to treasure hunting, the treasure hunting part of it. It gets into that. Is it a puzzle or is it a treasure hunt? Certainly it's a treasure hunt with riddles and puzzle pieces. And I don't consider it all pure puzzle, that there's definitely a giant element of treasure hunting, as in using the information and walking around. And at some point you got to find the dig spot. So you got to be outside. A lot of the theories seem to have in the past, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, maybe it's kind of the same, but it just seems like what they're basing their theory on, or some of the stuff, the degrees of, Kevin Bacon's that they're using has gotten crazy again. And there's kind of, again, back to
Bacon's.
Yeah. You know what that means, right?
Yeah, but it's degrees of Kevin Bacon, not plural, which is funny.
Kevin Bacon?
No, but you said Kevin Bacon's, which is funny.
Okay. Puzzles have to be. There still has to be. It can be a puzzle, and you can find the solutions for the parts of the puzzle, the verse lines, and an image. But there's it's in a framework, kind of a framework, and I think a lot of that's lost, and it's gone crazy.
I agree. It could be a lot. Some of it could be lost and gone a little crazy. I think that's the purpose for you got to put the record straight. and like create your own thing. And that's what I think George and people here are doing, is kind of like showing that like there is a little bit of a guide, there is a little bit of objective reality, and we are debating these things, the finer things that we're talking about, and that we are coming to a consensus. And if some people don't want to agree with certain things, that's totally fine too. You know, they're allowed that, right? Aren't they? I think so.
Right. Right.
You know, I think you're right too. Like something like you said something just now about getting out there and actually walking around. Like it concerns treasure hunting. Like you got boots on the ground walking around. Because I'll just say real quick, like when I went to Boston and the treasure was found like a month later at the same exact spot where I was at. It was Pupilo Park was under construction, and you would have never known that if you were just relying on anything that the website said. Right? They wouldn't say, oh, this site is under construction. Like as far as I know, you wouldn't have known unless you walked there, right? And you were going around and you had figured out maybe it's on the Freedom Trail or whatever, and oh, this place is under construction. Should definitely notify people. You know, it's interesting. So you're right. I think it does involve that walking around. Same thing with Chicago, right? Same thing with Cleveland.
The book has the write-in option when it first began. We all know that it was the write-in option, and supposedly, you know, you had to describe somewhat exact your location and how whatever. What we don't know really what BP's criteria for exact and what he would have taken as exact. So in a sense, there is some debate, or, you know, you could say that it was an armchair thing and you could somehow figure it out. But I don't know how you could truly send something in that gave really an exact location, exact enough, because we can't even do that now, and we know where they were. Or
in the Boston painting, for example, and this was one of the first, I was so stupid like that I didn't go with my instinct on this. Because one of the first things I did when I saw the bottom, like, this is my city. Like, this is Boston. Yeah, it definitely is. Like, and there was no doubt in my mind that that was the city. And I was, after I had definitely made that connection and agreed with that premise, I saw on the sleeve the baseball diamond, home plate. It was unmistakably home plate, and what looked like the foot of a baseball player sliding into home plate on a very specific side of home plate. But now that I look at it, it could have been a shovel. And it's pointing precisely to where the dig spot is. I don't know if you could, you know what I mean? So if I showed you that, the home plate, that's where it is. That you could totally illustrate exactly precisely where it is, you know, in my opinion.
Hey, Anubis.
Hey,
that home plate on the sleeve, on her sleeve.
Yeah.
If I'm on that camp, and so on the other sleeve, would you agree that there's a number 4 and a number 2?
Yeah, I thought so too. I think so.
Okay, I just wanted to know if so. There's 2 numbers that you cannot be issued in Major League Baseball. Does anybody know that they're number 42 and number 69?
Jackie Robinson.
Well, yeah, and so, you know, Jackie Robinson, I mean, I theory, but Jackie Robinson wasn't the first player actually asked to play in Major League Baseball. First black player.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No,
so the first black player to be asked to join Major League Baseball is actually in our team spirits in our book.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
That's fascinating.
I don't know if that's if I have a whole theory on basically baseball? I think there's one puzzle that completely goes over that, and it's the Africa puzzle. Yeah, the Monarch.
Charleston? Yeah, Charleston.
Right, with Charleston. When we called, that's one of my that is my true alternate city.
Okay.
I don't believe that's in Charleston. I believe that is a map of Charleston, but I believe that has to do. It's giving you somebody's name, Oscar Charleston.
Really? Okay, I don't know.
Oscar Charleston was the president of the Negro Leagues.
Oh,
and then you got Lenny Pearson was on that team. Branch Rickey, you got a branch there, right next to the pair for Pearson. So you have all the big players and what made that happen.
Interesting. Okay.
Right, and so Oscar Charleston. Yeah, so Branch Rickey was the manager of the Dodgers. He created a pseudo black Negro League team that never actually played any game. He called the Brown Dodgers. He did that in an effort to get into under contract black players before the adoption of blacks in Negro League into Major League Baseball.
No,
so I just found that, and so there's one place where they went and had a tryout before that, and some players were asked to go try out for this team. It was the first team to actually have a tryout for black players, and that was Boston.
Really?
Boston was actually, they did it. It was kind of it's a big thing if you're into this. If you're into what I'm into, I'm a baseball coach and a baseball nut. So maybe
sounds like you know your stuff.
Maybe that's why I see it, right? Maybe that's why I see something, but maybe that's why I'm right. So I don't really know. Maybe I'm just psycho because I'm a baseball nut. But maybe I'm right.
It's unmistakable that, first of all, that let me just say that the dig spot, it's pretty much confirmed that the dig spot.
I don't know I don't know if it happened at the plate or near the plate. But I believe it was near the plate on the field right there, right? Within 5 or 10, 20 feet. Who cares, right? So, well, I mean, it matters if you're digging it, but I'm not digging it. Now I'm just trying to figure out theory, right? So,
gotcha.
And so if you looked at, before there was a Negro League museum, there was one big park where it was an old baseball field and it got torn down, and they built a park there that commemorated all the great black athletes, baseball, football, and that was in Kansas City.
Okay.
On 22nd and Brooklyn Street.
Oh, interesting.
And the lane, it turns to 2 lanes right there because they used to have buses and pullover right there, right? And it's all lit up. And so when you're under an arc of lights, right? But Negro Leagues were the first to have lit baseball fields. They actually brought in temporary lighting so they could use the fields at night because they couldn't use them during the day.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it's part of American baseball history. So if you're an American baseball nut, you know half of this already. But
I didn't know that.
If you're not a baseball guy, you don't know any of this. You probably know that Jackie Robinson's number 42 was,
I knew that.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna open my book here, get to the page where I'm not just trying to spout off a memory here.
No, that's great. That's
I just heard you mention that plate while I was listening. I'm like, I'm unmuting.
No, thank you.
So in Team Spirits, that's Monty Irvin.
Okay.
Who's number 20. He's wearing a San Francisco Giants outfit, but he never played for San Francisco. He was a New York Giant. So he was actually in the outfield when Willie Mays made the catch.
Oh, wow. He was there.
There's a couple things in baseball called the shot that was heard around the world. And then there's the catch that was caught. That's Willie Mays in like 1954, I think, when he caught that over his shoulder.
Was it 50? Something like that.
In the early 50s, early mid 50s. I want to say it's 54, but I could be wrong.
Right.
So he was in the outfield. It was Don Mueller, Willie Mays, and Monty Irvin were the 3 outfielders. And that photo is Monty wearing his retired San Francisco jersey. So in San Francisco, in the Giants organization, number 20 cannot be issued.
Really?
It's retired for Monty Irving.
Interesting.
Okay.
Right, gotcha.
So he's standing there with the baseball and that little elf thing of what's her name made. Our lady, what's I can't, I'm having a brain fart. Joellen, please, thank you. Joellen Trilling made that thing, and he's holding it up in front of a poster of himself and Willie Mays and Don Mueller, the three outfielders, during that series. That's the series they won the pennant, and I think they won the World Series that year. At least they were in the World Series.
What do you think, if you're as a baseball fan, because I thought this was fascinating too, and I do think there is a connection somewhere. What do you think a giant step would be in San Francisco Giants related to the San Francisco?
I have the park in San Francisco. It has giant steps.
What do you think a giant step is?
It's a giant. Well, if you take a giant step, it's a pace.
Oh, pace.
But oddly enough, in that park, it has a giant staircase and giant terrace steps. Like a giant wouldn't walk up the steps, the giant staircase.
And Candlestick Rock. Okay.
No. It's in San Francisco, downtown San Francisco, pretty much, or uptown. But that park is built on a big lookout, and it has terraces. So if you were a giant, it looks like big giant steps going up alongside the staircase. And then, and it's in San Francisco. I think it's just a nod to San Francisco, also just saying, "Hey, this is this goes to this." I mean, I think the first time I ever saw George on a video or anything was during that first San Francisco meetup, and people were bringing things and posters.
Yep. And
George said something that caught my ear, and he said, I don't know if he still believes this, but I think he believed it when he said it, that the painting gets you to the city and the verse gets you to the treasure. That once you have a city, you don't need the painting anymore. There might be some confirmers or whatever. I don't think he said that then, but I think he basically said that once you got to the city, you don't need the painting anymore. And I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
I'm a firm that. So I'm from Oregon, in this little place called Beaver Creek.
Oh, cool.
And in Beaver Creek's, Redland, Oregon City, it's all kind of the same little farm areas.
Yeah.
And that's where they invented geocaching. The first geocache was right down the street from me. Yeah, the first geocache. You can Google that. It'll tell you it's on. I can't think of. Is that Ridge Road? I think it's on Ridge Road. But I grew up on Springwater Road, and if you look at Springwater Road compared to Ridge Road, they're just a couple miles apart.
Right.
Which is like basically two streets, and there because it's real farmland.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I'm just a farm kid, baseball kid, and I still coach. I still umpire.
What's your name again?
Yeah, my name's Jason.
Jason Brandon. So how long have you been looking at the puzzle?
Since the first Expedition Unknown thing.
Okay, so about
the first episode, my dad called me and had me watch it.
Say, over 2-3 years or what? When did you see that? When it aired, did you see the Expedition Unknown when it aired, like live, like that?
I guess, yeah, and that would have been like 10 years ago now.
Oh, okay. So you've been on for.
It's before there was a Facebook page. We didn't even have a Facebook page yet. Everybody was on. So I was a Forrest Fenn guy. That's what I was doing, was Forrest Fenn. My cousin died. Look out there on the Colorado River with his dog. And it was kind of, I never met him, but he was it was kind of a cool thing seeing like Randy Billy was out there looking. And so that's my last name. So
I didn't know you went back that far.
No. So, but I'm kind of getting in and out of it, just like everybody else. I don't have a podcast or anything. I'm not trying to sell anything.
I remember.
I'm just a guy. I think I was Catch 22 on that Quest for Treasure thing way back in the day.
I've heard of the fabled Quest for Treasure. I just never have.
I don't know if there was even 100 people in that group. I think there was like 20 active people. Matt, George.
Yeah.
Hello?
You're OG then, because I never even was on that thing.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello. Can we're kind of getting way off subject. If you want a new question, I kind of lost track of what you were. You know what I mean? If you want to talk Q4T, if you have questions about that, I know there's a few people on, like you said, there was probably, I think in its early stage, 10 to 15.
Wow.
10 to 15 were the main active